Hey guys, what's going on? It's James from the Contact Movement Network, and I just want to cover the process of contact, or the process of initiating contact. I've gone over it briefly before in some of the other videos, but I'm going to give a short, detailed outline of one of the ways I do it. Because each time is going to be a little different, and you just go with the flow. But I'll give you an example of something that I did today for the August Global CE5 event, in which there are a few thousand people around the planet right now joining in non-locally in consciousness, all in their localized groups or individually, and doing their contact meditations. So today I sat in a quiet place, away from distractions. I happen to use incense this time. I don't always. I did today. And then I start with some breath awareness exercises. And you can do this by just beginning to count your breath. A few seconds on the way in, hold for a moment, a few seconds on the way out, and leave your lungs empty for a few more seconds, for a 3 or 4 count maybe. And then, for an example, you breathe in for maybe a 4 or 5 count, hold it for a moment, then you let it out for the same amount of time, a 4 or 5 second count. And then, however it feels comfortable, leave your lungs empty. If you can do that for 4 or 5 seconds too, that's perfect. And you only need to do that for a few minutes. So within a few minutes of doing breath awareness, you can move into more subtle realms of consciousness. So after breath awareness, you can just begin to observe your own consciousness in a detached way, watching the stream of thoughts and relaxing and sitting in your inner peace. And after a few moments of that, you should begin to feel a deep relaxation. For me, I've been doing meditation for a long time, so I can get to a state like that rather quickly. And if you're persistent with your practices, you'll notice that you'll get more efficient and able to reach states like that very quickly. And that's when you reach the state of deep inner peace and connectiveness. It's what I dubbed the contact nexus. And once you're in this contact nexus, or a samadhi-like state, that you could be a lower level samadhi. It doesn't have to be completely detached and without thought. You can be in a samadhi state that still has observation of the individual self. But once you're in this state, you can sit there for a few moments and just be, and you're in a state of being. And you stay there as long as you feel is right and comfortable, and just be aware and awake. And slowly from there, from that state, that's when I begin the contact protocols. So before that, nothing else exists, just me and the meditation. The world doesn't exist, the ETs don't exist, none of it. Just me and the meditation. And when I'm in that state and I begin the contact protocols, then I involve these other aspects of working from that space to these greater realms of reality, like working with the morphogenic field and consciousness, which are the fields of awareness which intermingle all around the world. Everything has a field of consciousness, and you can affect that or have a relationship with those fields the more you're aware of them. And when you're in a deeper state like this, you have a greater way of communicating with these other fields. And when you're in that state, you can work with the morphogenic fields for awakening consciousness. So I do that. I'll use my intent from that space for the awakening of human consciousness and humanity. I will also then connect outwards, or it's really inwards, but that aspect of deep space and beings that I feel connected to throughout the cosmos from that space. And sometimes I'll have a vision or a sense, a feeling, or a combination thereof of beings out there in space on a craft or on some distant planet, or even within our own solar system on a craft. And I can feel that they're actually closer in. They're not out in deep space. They're around the planet, or on, in the solar system somewhere, which is, for extraterrestrials, that's pretty close. They can even be on a base on Earth. And I'll invite them in once I make that connection with them in consciousness, that I'm aware of them and they're aware of me, or us. And then I'll ask them to join us in any way that they feel is appropriate and comfortable and is the right assessment for this contact. Because you can ask for something as an experiment, ask for a certain manifestation, and we've had experiences in the field where they do this. They reply directly with our request, and it's kind of like we're testing to make sure the connection is there. But initially, and really most importantly, you want to ask them to facilitate the contact in such a way that it is appropriate at the time. Also, by doing this, if you're kind of requesting something, or you're asking for a specific kind of contact, you're right, that's a constriction. Now you're limiting the contact, and you're actually even almost constricting the thought projection of consciousness with that. Somebody once told me tension is the enemy of energy. And when you're having a rigid request like that, and I don't mean this in like a critical way. This is just a guideline to work with and to experiment with. But when you have a specific thought that's almost in a rigid way, you're constricting that thought of its unboundness. But when if you're more trained, you'll actually be able to kind of sidestep that. But to begin with, when you just have the request for contact in whatever way is appropriate for that time, you're liberating that thought, and it truly is unbound, and it'll have a greater chance of being received by the extraterrestrials. So I'll do that. I'll go through a process like that for the contact for however long I feel necessary, 5, 10, maybe 15 minutes after I'm already in that contact nexus state, which already took me, depending, anywhere from 5 to 20 minutes to get into that state already. And then once I'm in that state, it's another 5 to 20 minutes or so of the contact protocols, which is the connection work, projecting the intention, remote viewing, communicating my message telepathically, and then usually towards the end I'll sit for a few minutes and silence again, and do the receiving, and quiet the mind again after the protocols and see if I receive anything. And usually after that, I'll do my own process of gratitude, thanking the universe and the divine intelligence, thanking the extraterrestrials for their participation in the communication and the contact, thanking Mother Earth, and so it's almost like a mini prayer, if I want to say that, and I'll be in a state of gratitude and thankfulness and love and compassion, and I'll sit there for a few moments, emanating that state of awareness, and I'll do a healing for Mother Earth and friends and family and people around the earth. I'll thank the people of the earth who are here at this time, playing their roles out the way that they should be played out as their individual self, and participating in this this global state of being. Everybody has their own role, no matter what they're doing. They're all part of this greater consciousness, and they're all playing their part. And it's just, that's how it is, and that's how it's supposed to be. And so I'm grateful for that. And after I do that, I'll gear up, I'll get my stuff, I'll go outside, set up a chair, and I'll gaze into the sky and see if there's an activity or response. And I'll lounge out for a little bit, and if we're with the field team, we'll talk with each other about our meditation. That's our sharing period. After that, after the meditation, we'll share, make a few jokes or something, talk about how we feel about the contact and the global awareness, anything we want to share that we think is relevant to the contact when we're on the field. And then after another little while, after we're outside for an hour or so, maybe sometimes a half an hour, 45 minutes, depending on how we feel again, we'll do another meditation, and we'll go through that process over again. Maybe shorter, maybe longer than the first time, than the initial process, but that's what we'll do. And if it's a long night, if we're out for like the whole night, we'll do that a few times through the course of the night. And we'll stop for a snack break and bathroom break and all that, because we're human. So that is an example contact or CE5 initiation process that I go through personally. So I figured I'd share that. There's so many different methods and processes. It's really, the CE5 protocols are a guideline. They're training wheels. After you practice them and you use them, you get the hang of it, you modify it based on your individual being. So my CE5 and my CE5 protocols and my contact initiation is going to be different from somebody else's. That's why it'd be great if somebody else made a video of this, because they'll have something great to add on the way they initiated contact. Like I said, this is only one of the ways that I do it. I do it in, I know I've been doing this for years, so I have so many different methods of doing it based on how I feel. But what I gave you right now is just, that's like a basic, every day, like, alright, I know I'm going to be initiating contact tonight, so this is what I'm going to do. But if, once I'm on the move and I'm in the flow, there's many ways I can do it, or that anybody can do it. So if other people want to make a video like this, I would encourage them to do it, because I love hearing what you guys do to initiate contact. Because there truly is so many ways. As many different individuals there are, that's how many different ways there are to initiate contact, and more, So I hope this makes sense to a lot of you guys. I hope I didn't leave anything out, because I'm taking for granted what I know, maybe. Especially new viewers and people new to contact. Even people that experience the contact and be like, oh, he left this out. Oops. Sorry, guys. I just wanted to say before, Thanks a lot, Peter and Ted and the CE5 San Diego team. I saw the video, saw the shout out. I was flattered. You guys rock. Keep doing what you're doing out there. And I'll see all you guys tonight in consciousness out in the field during the August 2014 Global CE5 event. All right? Take care, guys.